What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 12 of the Revelers Rule podcast for season 2 here. So today I'm joined by someone who I had the pleasure of meeting about a little over 3 years ago now at TPE in Las Vegas 2023. And at the time she was working the booth for Fratello. And so I got to have a chat with her, and she passed me a couple cigars. We hung out at the after party, and we've pretty much been keeping in touch ever since. Hung out at TPE 2025 last year. So I am talking about, and this woman is a woman who wears many hats. She is not only a cigar broker, but she is also a would bodybuilder be the correct term?
Yeah.
Would that be the correct
Yeah.
term? Okay. She is a bodybuilder, and she is also an author. And I am talking about Crystal Herbert. Welcome, Crystal, to an actual recorded episode of this
Yes.
podcast, because there's some history with attempts on this.
Yeah.
Because what happened last time? Do you remember what happened last time?
Oh gosh, it was like a lot of technical difficulties, all sorts of stuff, and then like it never saved. And I'm like, oh man.
Well, here's the weird thing is like I tried doing some like clever tech shit, which I realized after that I should never ever do that because I'm not clever when it comes to tech shit. But
Yes.
I was trying to do a loophole to where like I was using a different podcasting service, but it wouldn't let me record. So I tried to use another thing to record the show, and yeah, that went about as well as expected. It didn't capture your audio. That was the problem. Did not capture your audio. And so and you want to know, the thing is, like, that was among a string of really, really bad attempts at recording episodes. You were not the only one
Oh man.
that I had a problem, because like a while after our attempt at an episode, I had Brandon in person on the podcast when he was in town last year. Yes, and he was in town last year in July. And also my friend Michelle, she was my first guest on the podcast. She's an author. She wrote a memoir about growing up in a cult and how she escaped and all that kind of stuff. She was a journalism professor. She was actually my creative writing teacher in college.
Wow.
And because her and Brandon had a lot in common in terms of like religious background, I thought it'd be fun to have them both on the show. Well, we all got there okay. We're hanging out at a lounge called Culebra in Southern California. And all of the video recorded, but only a fraction of audio did.
Oh.
So we're talking over two hours of footage recorded, next to no audio. I wanted to kill myself. I know that sounds dramatic, but it was a string of shit that just kept happening, and I had to take a break from the podcast after that because it was just like I was pissed. I was so pissed. So, but Christmas, finally got a new laptop, got this wonderful setup going on, and here we are. And it's showing you right now. We are 3.5 minutes into recording. I can hear you. You can hear me. That means everything's getting recorded. So no problems so far.
Yeah, right. Well, we're just going to say it's all going to work out this time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, so you are on the road right now, from what I saw on your post from yesterday. You posted on your story, you're hitting the road. So where are you at right now?
I'm actually in Delaware. So I left my house last night. I have 2 weeks stint on the road right now. After we get off this podcast, I'm heading to the DMV, and I'll be there until, I will be in the DC, Maryland, Northern Virginia area until Tuesday next week. And then I will be heading to Southern Virginia, because I have an event on the following week, and then I'll be in North Carolina to end that week to do another event.
Oh wow. So you were on tour essentially for a couple weeks.
I am on tour, if that's what you want to say. A little East Coast tour.
It makes it kind of exciting. Well, spices it up a little bit, but no, that's awesome. That's that is the life of a cigar broker, and working, because how many brands are you working with currently?
I
Because I
currently
haven't been up to
have
speed on that for a while.
Yeah, I have 6 brands that I work with
Okay.
currently. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just name them so that way everybody knows. I work with Aganorsa, Cavalier, El Mago, El Septimo, Chimoli, and Casa 1910.
Casa 1910 is a fantastic brand. Manolo is a great guy. I had him on my channel not that well, actually, I won't say not that long ago, more like 3 years ago.
Oh, nice.
And because I met him the same year I met you.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that he found out about me by what means I'm not entirely sure, and he emailed me. He's talking about, hey, let's do an interview while you're at TPE, and I'm like, all right, cool. But then I kept trying to get in touch with them, like, hey, what time, what day, what time, and I just never
Right.
heard back. So I ended up going to see him at the booth, and I told him who I was. He's like, oh yeah, he's like, I'm so sorry, and blah 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 blah. He's like, things just got crazy, and I'm like, no worries. And he sent me
Yeah.
home with like a 6-pack of cigars, and then he sent me more after I got home, and then we just sat and had a chat via Zoom, and recorded that and had a good time talking. And yeah, no, that's a fantastic brand. But El Septimo, that's really cool. That is a brand I've only tried one cigar, and it was years ago. I couldn't even tell you which one it was because I like just tried a little bit of it. A friend passed it to me while
Yeah.
they were smoking it, and I just took a few puffs, and I'm like, that's pretty good. And that's that's about the long and
Right.
short of my experience with them.
Yeah, I still haven't smoked everything in that portfolio yet. So, well, I'm just
Yeah.
working my way through. I've only had them in my portfolio since last August. So, it'll be coming up on a year in August.
Okay. Yeah, I have a couple of friends here in California. You might be familiar with Cigar Love Affair, Roxy. She
Mm,
I think she's sponsored by them. She's
oh,
sponsored by
really?
them, and she smokes their stuff all the time. Yeah, her and her, I'm pretty sure, I think they're married now. I can't remember if they got married or if they're still just boyfriend and girlfriend, but Jean-Pierre Cigars, you may have heard of
Oh,
him.
yeah. I
He's
saw them at the
all
trade
over.
show.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. So, no, they do cigar stuff all the time. They just literally this past weekend they did the what was it? It was an event in Newport Beach here in California, which I wish I could have gone to because Martin Cove was there and Maddie Rock was there, and I would have loved to have hung out with both of them. I know Maddie, but I've never met Martin, and so it just would have been such a great event. But it was unfortunately not in the cards. But yeah, no, Roxy and Jean Pierre and a couple other friends, they're like the poster children for El Septimo out here in California. They
Yeah.
are posting all the time smoking their cigars.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, I'm not really well connected with a lot of the California influencers.
So, okay, so you're on the road doing cigar events right now for the next couple of weeks, but you're also getting ready for competition season.
Yeah,
And that
so
happens in you said right before November is when you're doing your actual competition, the actual shows.
yeah, so I'm gonna be competing in October. My
Very
first
nice.
show will be October 10th, and then we'll see what happens at that show and then go from there.
Hmm.
I wasn't sure if I was even going to be able to compete this year just because I've had a lot of hormonal stuff that I needed to take care of first, and I'm working with a doctor, and everything has been great. Um, I'm now on testosterone and progesterone because I needed to get my levels up, and everything's been actually 50 million times better. I also have to be this time around, I have to be on a high fat diet rather than a higher carb diet because typically you do like carbs, you have a lot more carbs than anything, carbs and protein. But now it's more protein, fat, and then minimal carbohydrates. And it's working like 10 times better. And I have a lot less stress on my body because I'm working with a whole new
Okay.
coach. I fired the coach that I had from last season, and the new coach that I have this year is like 10 times better.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I would imagine there's like various tweaks that you have to put into place every season. Like you don't do the same exact thing every season, especially depending on where you placed or where you ranked in the competition. Because I've known a couple of people who have done that kind of competition every year. There's a guy I know by the name of Michael Wittig. He's a natural bodybuilder, and he competes every year. Same kind of thing every fall. There's always a new competition. He is what's the organization? The IF.
IFBB.
What's the actual letters? I can't
Yeah,
say that one more time.
it's the IFBB.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
he must be a pro because the IFBB, once you get your pro card, you go into the IFBB if you're competing with the NPC. There's a couple different federations,
Mhm.
typically either the majority of the time it's OCB or NPC. There's other federations too, but those are the two main ones. But the NPC, if you compete in that, you go into the IFBB once you get your pro card.
Yeah, and he does have his pro card. He earned it, I think, close to about 10 years ago.
Mm,
And so he's been competing. He's also he's a fitness instructor. He does personal training. He does all that kind of stuff. What's funny though is that he is actually also a bassist in a Christian hard rock band called Pillar.
mm,
So he's pretty multifaceted. I mean, much like yourself, he does a lot of different things,
yeah,
but his main passion is definitely fitness and bodybuilding and doing all that kind of stuff. But he's incredibly knowledgeable and talented, and that guy has been just perfecting what he does for a long time. He was sponsored by gosh, I'm trying to remember the name of the supplement company, but he's been sponsored by a couple. He's sponsored by Caged Muscle currently. He has been sponsored by them for many years now. But yeah, he's been doing his thing for quite a while, and yeah, every single season, same kind of thing. Working up to fall and getting ready for competition season. So
yeah,
that's no joke though. Just watching what you guys do, because it is not something you cannot take it even a little bit lightly. Not at all.
no, no. You have to literally measure every single thing that goes into your mouth. But not only that, you have to do like certain prescribed cardio and certain prescribed exercises. And the cardio gets higher as prep goes along and you feel fatigued and all that kind of stuff. But you gotta, if you are dedicated and you want to do it, you'll find a way to do it no matter what. Like, and with my travel, people are like, I don't know how you like travel like that. Listen, you can do whatever you put your mind to.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Now, tell me a little bit about like when it comes down to the wire. Obviously, cutting is one of the last steps you take. Cutting is when for anyone who's not familiar with what cutting is when you start to um, get your body fat percentage down as low as possible to a healthy level. So that way, when you get to competition season, you actually are seeing more of the definition. You're seeing more of actually what you're working with and what you've developed over that time. Um, but how rough is it when you actually like I think within the 24 to 48 hours you have to dehydrate. How
Mm,
rough is that? Because you got
so
to do it quite a bit because you want to be you yeah.
yeah, you do. Well, okay. So the men do a little different than the women. And it also depends on your category.
Mhm.
So I'm in the bikini category, so I don't really need to dehydrate that much, but I will tell you that like last season I had to water load like 2 gallons a day for a couple days during peak week. And then we like gradually decreased it, and it wasn't like a massive decrease. It's just to fill out like the muscles and all that kind of stuff, but like a lot of times for the men though, they have to cut their water so drastically that, like, by show day, you're barely sipping on water, so that way you're, like, completely, like, depleted of anything that would, like, um, make you look, like, watery or bloated.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy to me because like obviously this is different from like bodybuilding competition, but like thinking about, especially like you said, it's very different for what men do than what women have to do.
Yeah.
But like men who have to appear shirtless in films after they have gone through a complete transformation, especially those who do like the superhero roles.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember hearing Henry Cavill talk about how when he was doing The Witcher, he had to basically go down to, for like roughly a day and a half, maybe longer, where he wasn't drinking any water. And he said you get to the point where you actually can smell water
Mhm.
because your body's so deprived of it. And I'm like, that is fucking insane just to look good without a shirt. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but that to me is not worth it. If I'm being
Well,
honest,
no.
if I'm being honest,
And
it's dangerous.
yeah, it's very dangerous, especially for the men. You'll hear about like men in particular because they have to deplete so much water that like they're so dehydrated sometimes like they'll like have to go to the hospital or sometimes they die. So yeah, it's a very it's not a sport for everybody. There's a lot of, unhealthy things that happen along the way.
Well, I've watched numerous documentaries about like, and like kind of going beyond natural bodybuilding, which is what like I told you my friend does, was what you do, and stuff like that. Like the absolute lengths that people will go to just to achieve the physique that they feel like they need in order to win. You know, whether it's steroids or certain other performance enhancing things, which in certain competitions they let you get away with.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And, you know, whether you're cycling on and off, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm sure you know who Rich Piana was. Um, that man was built like a tank and it killed him.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's just, it's really, to be that obsessive about it is just like scary to me. Cause like, it's one thing if you want to achieve uh, as much of a really like defined physique as possible, which, you know, that's admirable. But like,
Yeah,
when it comes to like size and all of that, it's just like, to me it's just like, and some of them, the ones that are still alive, give or take a few, they're suffering as a result. Like, you know,
mhm,
Ronnie Coleman, he can't even walk because of the
yeah,
abuse he put his body through.
yeah, mhm. They also
It's
like,
insane.
a lot of the guys will go on these crazy cycles of drugs, in order to put on massive amounts of size. Their heart just
Mm.
can't keep up, which is why you see a lot of bodybuilders dying at such a young age. You don't really hear about it too much on the women's side, although there's a lot of women that do take crazy cycles as well. But yeah, it is not like the healthiest sport, but you also can't be staying at like such super low body fats for a very long time without your body giving out.
Hmm. Yeah, like going back to my friend Michael, he, once competition is over, he goes out to eat and
Mhm,
he goes crazy
mhm.
because he just, it's not like he'll like eat just all junk food, although some of it is, but he'll go out and he'll have an entire pizza to himself.
Oh
and, just enjoy himself a little bit for a day and kind of allow his body to reacclimate to what's normal.
Mhm.
And it's just like, it's crazy to me because it's just like all that prep, and it's not for nothing, but it's just like all that prep, and you get down to a certain, physique or a certain level of, physical fitness. And then next day you're like, all right, let's just have a full on cheat day or cheat week. And then we're back at it after that week's over, or just, getting back into a fitness routine where you're just like, right now we're just working to maintain. We're not working for prep. We're not working for trying to get to a certain physique. We're just doing the regular maintenance after this. And it's just, like you said, it's not the healthiest, but I also know when done right, it can actually be a very healthy lifestyle, and it can actually help, prolong your life. And if you're doing it correctly.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but my hat's off to all of you who do that, because I'm not saying I could never do anything like that. I just haven't I haven't allowed myself that kind of opportunity, because I would say about 2 or 3 years, I was very, very active, very physically fit. And then I went on a cruise, and then it went downhill from there. I let myself
Yeah.
fall off the wagon,
Well,
and that was a long time ago. But,
it takes like you it takes time and dedication, obviously, to get back on track if you want to. It's so funny because
mhm,
like I meet people every day and they're like, "Oh, I could never be like you." I mean, you could. You probably just don't want to, and you just don't have the motivation to do it. It's all about discipline, to be
yeah,
honest with you, because I'm not motivated to go to the gym all the time. You think I want to get up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym all the time? No, sometimes I'm just tired, but I still do it
nope.
anyways. It's what you want, right? And so that's the thing. It's like, do you really want it?
Yeah. So right now, like what I'm starting to do, just as like a slow transition, I'm starting to do like 12 on, 12 off when it comes to eating. So intermittent fasting, just to kind of slowly kickstart my body into, boosting my metabolism, and burning some fat and losing a little bit of weight, watching what I eat during my 12-hour period, and making sure I'm staying hydrated. Because I've done that successfully before, where went I got into intermittent fasting for like months, and it is a sustainable way to do it as long as you're doing it right.
Right.
And I have done it where I lost like anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds doing it. And but once you jump off of it, it's really easy to gain all that weight back. It's just
Of
like you
course.
said, it's about the discipline. And if you keep the discipline in check, then you can find yourself getting some really amazing results. And obviously you need to include physical activity in that as well. And that's something I'm
Yeah.
working on, because I definitely would like to lose a little bit of weight before I potentially go to the Dominican Republic in November.
Well, you have time. You have time. So
Mm-hmm. Yep. I got 5 months.
anything
So,
anything can
yeah, that's
happen
the
in
goal.
5 months.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. And so, yeah, the goal is to stay consistent with the fasting and make sure that I'm doing, like, because I've been doing my research on what's a good workout routine to have during an intermittent fasting period, however long it is. And, obviously it's like low impact cardio, not lifting super heavy, but still lifting and making sure that you're maintaining muscle and things like that. And during your, um, you know, after you've broken your fast, because, they tell, do not try to exercise or do that when you are on your fast, because that's actually not good for you. Um, but yeah, so it's just me researching what's going to work for me and what's going to actually benefit me during developing these new habits and new routine, and, actually maintaining the discipline. Cause, I am motivated, but again, it's the discipline that's the additional component to that. Cause I could be as motivated as hell, but if I don't do anything to actually make the changes, it doesn't fucking matter.
Right. I mean, well, we can always chat about it offline, but I mean, like my backgrounds, I have two master's degrees. One is in exercise science and one is in nutrition. It's
Hmm.
a master's in integrative nutrition with a concentration in herbal medicine. Now, I mean, the reason why I did that is because like I went through my own weight loss journey and I lost over 100 pounds. And I was like, you know what? I want to go to school to help other people. And so like at that point in time, I was like in my mid 20s and I didn't go to school before that. And so yeah, I went to school for 10 years straight to get those two master's degrees.
You know what? I mean, it obviously was well worth the time and study because, you're applying it now and you're, I know you post what you post and everything. So that way you can kind of show people this is what's possible. This is what you can actually accomplish with a discipline. Cause, like one of the things, and I think women catch the most flack for this, which really irritates me when women post their fitness journey and post results and stuff like that, they get such a ridiculous amount of, blowback from people who, if they're being 100% honest, are completely envious and jealous of the journey that they're witnessing because they're not willing to actually take those steps. Men or women, doesn't matter. It's mostly men who throw the stupid comments from their fucking basement that they're dwelling in. But,
Those little keyboard warriors.
it's just like, what's that?
I said the little keyboard warriors, they have nothing better to do.
Exactly. Exactly. No, and I was listening to one of my older episodes with saying the same thing to my friend Michelle, like keyboard warriors who are little basement dwellers still living with mom and things like that. And they have the gall to like throw shade at women who are actually doing amazing shit with their lives. And it's just like, buddy,
Yeah.
get out of the fucking chair and take a walk.
Yeah.
Take a walk, buddy.
Yeah. Well, it's
So,
so funny. It's so funny because the reason why I post all the time about it, and I'm never going to stop posting, is because I get so many DMs from people in the cigar community that have been trying to change their life. And they are changing their lives because I am posting. And they're like, Crystal, you are such an inspiration. Thank you so much for continuing to post. Like, you don't understand how much this means to me. Like, they'll tell me, like, I'm down 10 pounds because of you. I started, like, going to the gym because of you. And it just gives me the chills.
that's awesome though, because that's what you want. You
Mhm.
want to actually inspire and motivate people. And like I messaged you the other day, you just simply posted about like, most of the time I don't have the motivation because I would much rather sleep in than get up at 3 o'clock in the morning because nobody wants to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Even the most dedicated like fitness person, and here's where I think they might be a little full of shit if they say, I love getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. No, you fucking don't. Nobody does. You do it because you know what you're after and you're willing to actually make, as my cousin used to say, like you embrace the suck because it sucks getting up that early. When I was my most active, I was getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
Now I had the benefit of, I would just work out in my family room because I would do I was doing the insanity workout at the time.
Okay.
And so I would just do the body weight and, high impact workouts and stuff like that. And I'd do that anywhere from, 30 to 90 minutes, depending on which week I was in.
Right.
It was rough. It was brutal, but it was worth it. I felt fantastic. I looked fantastic. And now I just need to get back to that same level of discipline that I had
Mhm.
and, reap the benefits of it all because I'm in my 40s. I'm not getting any younger, and it's going to be harder for me to do that the older that I get. So it's fantastic that you're sharing this with people just because, like you said, it does impact people. It makes a difference. Like I would do the same during that
Yeah.
time. I would post different bits of what I was doing and, whether it was the workouts I was doing or showing results that I was getting. And I felt a little weird about it sometimes because I'm like, do people want to see me without my shirt on? Maybe not, but maybe like with me showing the results I'm getting, they won't mind as much because then they'll be wondering, maybe I could do that as well. And, there's a method to the madness, and you do it, not for attention, but so that way people can see what's possible and what kind of potential they've yet to tap into.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but that's really cool. And I mean, you're in a long line of people who are super fit and super strong that smoke cigars anyway. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of them out there who like every now and then they'll like post. And what's funny is like if people don't know about it, they'll be like surprised seeing like, you smoke cigars? I thought you were super healthy. It's like,
Yeah.
I am, and I smoke cigars, and I'm still healthy. So what?
Yeah. Yeah, right. Exactly. Listen,
But
smoking cigars has nothing to do with whether you're healthy or not, and smoking cigars is not going to cause damage to your health. I'm just putting it out there, okay? It actually lowers your blood pressure.
well, I was talking with Aaron Paletta from La Vega Cigars on an episode I did a couple weeks back, and it's all about actually being educated because, like, you know what you know because you have taken the time to study it, whether it's fitness or cigars. And the same thing, like when it comes to cigars, I remember when I was initially starting with cigar media and smoking more, my wife was very concerned. She's like, I'm terrified you're going to get cancer. And then I did the research just to make sure I wasn't being a stubborn asshole.
Yeah.
And I looked at the stuff from the Mayo Clinic and from all the different other studies that were done, and says if you smoke one cigar a day every day for the rest of your life, you have less than a 2% chance of getting any kind of cancer.
There you go.
And initially, initially initially she was mad at me for that because she's just like, she thought I was trying to invalidate her feelings. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm trying to make you not feel concerned about me and know that I'm not being unhealthy. I'm not hurting myself. Now, if there was ever a health issue that came across, like if I started getting heart issues or anything else that could be aggravated or even, made worse by cigar smoking, obviously I would give it up. I'm not willing to die for this,
Right.
you know? So I would do what I need to do if my body told me at one point you can't do this anymore, I'd be very sad, but I'd rather live than die doing this,
Yeah.
it's just there's no two ways about it. But I was talking with I was hanging out with two of my cousins last Friday, and we were smoking cigars and stuff like that, and I was telling him, he was asking about nicotine because he also smokes cigarettes and vapes, which I hope he'll actually give those up eventually. But I was telling him, I was like, dude, it's not nicotine that actually is the addictive part. It really
No.
isn't, because there's nicotine in tomatoes. And this is what Aaron told me. There's nicotine in tomatoes. There's nicotine in
Mhm.
onions, very low levels. But it actually isn't as bad for you as people would lead you to believe. It's just that because it's in cigarettes, and cigarettes are highly addictive, but it's not because of the nicotine. It's because of all the
No.
other shit they put in there.
It's the chemicals, and nicotine is actually really good and beneficial for your brain. We have nicotinic receptors in our body anyways. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people in the fitness space use nicotine before they work out, all that kind of stuff. Been a lot more research on nicotine lately. It has nothing to do with the nicotine. It has everything to do with the chemicals. And then also, um, I used to
Exactly.
I used to vape, like, not that long ago, because I needed something to do in the car. So what I did was, because I don't smoke cigars in my car, but I switched to
Mm-hmm.
chewing nicotine gum. So it helps to get rid of the craving for like vapes and cigarettes.
Mm-hmm. And I have friends who like they have like the little nicotine pouches that they use.
Hmm.
But what's crazy about some of those that are out now is that they infuse them with other things like vitamins and stuff like that. So you're not just getting a shot of nicotine, you're actually getting a shot of other things that are going to help you start your day a little bit better than if you just started on pure air alone. And especially
Yeah,
if you like maybe you're trying to give up coffee or something else, it's just a nice little boost to start your day. And like you said, it actually can kind of help your brain function a little bit because it's just going to kind of kickstart your mind and being able to do what you need to do for the day. Now, it's not for everyone, but
right.
it's also one of those things where it's extremely important to be educated about it, because if you're ignorant, you're just going to be like scared that you're going to get sick. You're going to be scared that your friend is dying, or you're going to be freaked out that your spouse is going to, put themselves in an early grave. You need to know what the actual facts are regarding this or anything, like just nicotine in general, not even just cigars. Because like a friend that was over at my cousin's asked me, she's like, so what's in cigars? And I'm like, leaves. That's it. I said, there's no additives, there's no chemicals. I said, it's just aged fermented leaves, and that's it. There's naturally occurring chemicals in those, but those are largely burned off when you light them up and smoke them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
Exactly.
so yeah, it's just, it drives me a little bit crazy when people like, because with some of my YouTube videos, this doesn't happen much anymore, but for a while it was happening, like where they'll saying like, hey, well, you're going to end up dying anyway from smoking those. And I'm like, dude, have you actually been watching my videos or paying attention to a damn thing I've said? Because yeah, a lot of people will assume that, but it's just like, I talk about this shit all the time where I'm just like, the likelihood of me developing any health problem, like, is very, very small, unless I have like a pre-existing condition that could be aggravated or made worse by cigar smoking. Because it's not impossible to have health risks with this, just like anything else. There is a chance of developing some kind of health risk.
Right.
But I live in Southern California. You could develop a health risk by breathing the fucking air here. It's
Right.
so polluted. It's so bad. It's just like, just don't go outside, But it's like, it all comes down to what you've actually been willing to, educate yourself on. And that's something that I've always been very adamant about when I post what I post. Cause I've had family members and and even my doctors, cause I try not to lie too much to my doctor. I'm not saying I never lie to my doctor, cause I definitely have lied to my doctor. Because he'll ask me like, they ask me every time I go in, do you smoke? I said cigars. And they're like, how often? I said, occasionally. Because that's a nice vague term to say, like,
Yeah.
sometimes I smoke three or four in a day. Sometimes I only smoke 3 or 4 in a week. It just depends. But I'm not going to give them those details. They don't need to know that.
No, dude, I'm
And
smoking
they'll
like
ask,
I'm smoking like 10 a day sometimes. No, I don't smoke at all.
I wish I had the ability to smoke a little bit more often, but I'm a father of 2 young kids. They're on break for the summer. So I had to make sure that they had their video game time so I could come in here and hang out with you, because like otherwise I'd be getting knocks on the door. Dad, Ben's being annoying. Dad, Theodore's won't let me do this. And my wife is working. She works from home and she's supposed to like go into the office at some point today. So it's just like, I got to set him up with something. So like me being able to smoke several times a day, as much as I would like that, just isn't in the cards for me. But,
Right.
every single time I go to the doctor, whether it's for my annual physical or something else, they're like, are we ever going to get you to quit smoking? It's like, no. Like, why not? I don't do it often enough for it to be a problem.
Right.
So,
We're all gonna
and
die one
I'm not
day.
ignorant about it either. So,
We're all gonna die one day.
right. I want to enjoy myself until, until that day. So this is part of how I do it.
Let me live my life.
No, for real. And like, and I've said this in numerous times. If it weren't for cigars, I would not have this setup that I have. I would not be doing what I'm doing. I mean, this place is like functions in 3 ways. It is my studio for doing voice work. It's where I make my cigar content and shoot my podcast. And it's also my man cave.
Yeah.
So if I want to come in here and not be bothered and enjoy a cigar, watch a movie, or watch the TV shows that I never get to watch because either, they're not for kids or my wife doesn't like them,
Yeah.
that's when I come in here. And so cigars afforded me this, just because like at one point she got tired of watching me on the patio smoking while she's watching TV. She's like, okay, you need a space. You
Yeah.
need a place where you can actually do this, and I don't have to watch you doing it. So,
Right.
I mean, I can't complain, and I'm very fortunate. So it's and cigars are the reason why. So,
Yeah, exactly.
so I may have asked you this the last time we talked. When was it that you actually started to step into the cigar industry and started becoming a broker? Because you started was Fratello the first company you started working with, or were there others?
Yeah, so 2023, the end of 2023 is when I got in. I started working directly for Omar at Portillo. And
Mm-hmm.
once I learned more about the industry, because I mean, prior to that, the only thing I knew was smoking cigars, you know. Once I learned more about the industry, once I got in, I was networking, doing my thing, getting to know people, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you know what? I've always been a business owner. I don't want to work for anybody. Let me go be a broker. So it all just worked out.
Honestly, there are worse ways to fall into a line of work.
Hmm.
So it's pretty spectacular that it ended up working for you, and obviously you really enjoy traveling, so that's not an issue,
Yeah.
and that makes it all the more fun for you to be able to. But like kind of like you said, like, and obviously you're making it work. I will say that, like, for myself, trying to maintain a fitness routine while traveling, that really is a bitch. There's no two ways about it. It really is a bitch because it's not always convenient.
That's true. But because I travel mostly by my car, I have literally zero excuse, regardless of if the hotel gym doesn't
Hmm.
work, whatever. I have a Planet Fitness membership, and there's a Planet Fitness on like every single corner. Most of them are 24 hours. They have exactly what I need. So I cannot make excuses, right? So I will do what I need to do.
No, clearly, and that works out pretty nice. Just because I saw everything you packed up in your car just on your story. I'm like, holy shit, that
Yeah,
is. I mean, you have it down to a science, obviously, but just like that's crazy.
yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't want to pack their car up like that. It takes time. Like I have 2 days that I do like over the span of like my packing of my clothes, making sure that I have all of my prep stuff because I have to carry certain things because I like if I'm on the road for 2 weeks at a time, I still have to do check-ins with my coach. I also have to make sure I have all my gym stuff, my supplements, all of my food. And then I have to make sure that am going to have a kitchen in case I need more food or what have you. Like, so I plan everything to a T, but it's over the course of 2 days, to make sure that I have everything that I need possible. And I can't like, I mean, it's a lot of work to do that. But I'll do whatever it takes.
No, and then that's what you have to do when you're that serious about something like that. Just because, like, it's one of those things where, like, when it comes to people who are celebrity status, whether they're actors or they're on these ridiculous contracts to do these things. It's convenient when you have like hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars behind you giving you what you need while you're traveling. That's a whole different type of thing. But for people who, are working a job other than fitness, and they're required to travel or they're required to go from place to place, it's not nearly as convenient, and you have to make accommodations to yourself and adapt to it. So,
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
not
I'm
everybody
really thrilled for you that you're able to do that.
Yeah, not everybody wants to make their food and take it with them either. So the whole reason why this like started, okay, so because I've been in the fitness industry majority of my life, and I'm very passionate about fitness, I uh w- I got in the industry and everybody was like, oh, well, now that you're on the road, there's no way you're going to stay in shape. Most of us gain weight. I said, I'm going to prove to every single one of you guys that that is not the case. And you can do whatever you put your mind to. So that's it.
No, exactly. So, I mean, discipline exists in so many different forms. Like, with what I'm doing here with the podcast and the various other things, like my relationship with Smokin' and other brands and other, companies and things like that. I mean, that isn't shit that just fell into my lap.
No.
I actually had to overcome any anxieties I had about reaching out to brands and connecting with them and talking with them and seeing if they were interested in collaborating with me and all that. Cause like, I'll be 100% honest. I don't have this massive reach when it comes to like my podcast audience, my socials and things like that. I don't have thousands upon thousands of followers and subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
But people do trust me. They trust my opinion. They trust my judgment. They see that I've been doing this for a long time. They see that I'm not the kind of guy that fucks around with it. I
Right.
don't just casually do this shit. And, again, for fuck's sake, I built a studio in my garage. I mean, I'm pretty damn serious about this. And so with that and seeing that I am serious about it, that I am passionate about it, that I'm not just out for a handout or something for free, again, like I'm grateful for every brand and every company that is willing to be generous with what they have, because it could all just go away tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not something that I take for granted. So, but it takes discipline to be willing to, one, commit the time, commit the hours, make the phone calls, send the emails, and actually talk to people. Because I'll be perfectly honest, even with the brands that I'm very friendly with, that I'm very close with, I still feel awkward reaching out to them sometimes. I have this
Really?
weird anxiety about it where I'm just like, oh, I don't want to be a bother to them. But then I'm like, dude, get over it and fucking call them.
Right.
Get over it, send the text, get over it, send the
Yeah.
email. They will, and these are people who have told me repeatedly, like, hey, anything you need,
Right.
hit me up. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
you don't need anything more than that. So it's one of those things where I kind of like, and similarly when it comes to the discipline to, do your training and everything like that, on season or off season for competition, you have to get over whatever anxiety it is that you have or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
misgivings you might have and just be like, just fucking do it. Just do it.
Mm-hmm. Just do it.
So it really is that simple. It's scary. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I'm terrified because like my friend that I mentioned, Michelle, when I was hanging out with her and Brandon, I was going through a really rough season.
Yeah.
And she pulled me aside and she said, can I ask you a question? And I said, sure. And she says, do you think you might be afraid of success? And I almost went kind of like, afraid of success? What kind of question is that? And then later on, I was like, oh shit, maybe I am a little bit scared of it, because
Maybe.
when you start becoming successful, the level of discipline that is required for you to maintain that success and continue being successful moving onward and upward, it can be a lot. It can feel very overwhelming and intimidating. And
Yeah.
I have
I
to not be scared of that.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and I'll put it into perspective for you. So with being successful, I am kind of afraid of that too, because we actually, for my brokerage, we just hired our first employee, and he starts on July 1st. And I was like, oh my God, now I got to work even harder to make sure that this guy eats. You know what I mean? But I mean, obviously, he's going to be doing sales and all that kind of stuff. But like, it's like, okay, it scares the crap out of me because now I'm responsible for someone else, but it also like makes me want to do more.
Right. Exactly. And, same thing goes for voice work or whatever other, pursuits that I have right now. Cause I mean, I'll be honest. I haven't worked as hard at trying to get gigs for voice work for a while now, because I've been working, one, finding a new job, which thankfully I did. And two, working really hard at this, cause I'm actually going to be gone for a couple of weeks next month. and I'm trying to pump out as much content as I possibly can, so that way while I'm gone, things get,
Yeah.
released and stuff like that. Um, that was where only working 2 days a week was a blessing in disguise, because 5 days a week I had time to jump on calls and record podcast episodes
Yeah.
and do all of that fun stuff. And so, yeah, it was, you know, it's been pretty challenging, but at the same time, I've been thriving in it and very happy and very excited and very satisfied. And one of the things that I remember hearing from one of my favorite comedians, he said he was actually giving real advice while he was on stage, saying, um, even if your dream does not turn out exactly the way you thought it would or hoped it would, if you continue to manage your expectations, you will still be content and satisfied in the pursuit of your dream.
Yes.
He says, as long as you manage your expectations.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
that's something I've had to frequently do,
Hmm.
consistently do, and just say, like, look, nothing's going to happen overnight. You need to just remain diligent and actually keep at it. And people have been telling me the same thing for months, to just like keep going, keep going, keep going.
Hmm.
And that's been the main thing that's been keeping me motivated and sticking to this, because last year I was on the verge of just like saying, fuck it, I'm done. The podcast is getting scrapped. I keep encountering nothing but problems.
Oh my God.
And, it was, yeah, exactly. And, but then that time off was crucial for me, because once I was able to kind of take some time and come up with a game plan,
Yeah.
the beginning of this year, I was just like, okay, if I'm going to be able to do this, I'm going to have to do XYZ. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Right.
And after having done that, it it made all the difference.
Hmm.
So after, obviously, you have the competition coming up in October, and right now you're on, traveling for 2 weeks doing events. In between that being done in October, what else have you got going on?
Well, more travel. No, I'll be at Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival this year, which I'm super excited about. I'm going for the first time.
Nice.
And I'm excited because I've never been to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I've always wanted to go. So I'll be doing that, and then I have just lots of events lined up. And then I'm also part of the Women of PCA. So I'm on the board for that, well, the committee, and we have a lot of stuff in the
That's
works.
great.
Until the end of the year, we have several events, and that we have lined up. We'll be going to Miami, and then next year we'll be doing like a little cigar tour. We're working on a bunch of things. We actually just released a Women of PCA cigar with Gran Habano, and we showcased it at the show. It is still available for people that want it. It's a Toro
Okay.
size Habano wrapper. Absolutely amazing. And the proceeds go to benefiting the women of PCA.
That's fantastic. I love hear that. That's really cool. I love that.
Mhm.
Um, I was honestly, I think women are really truly starting to dominate the cigar industry in a way that I love seeing. Like, I love seeing that it's not just a man's space anymore. I really do. It's
Yeah.
something that I think is fantastic, and I get excited every time I hear more about it. Yeah, it's something that I love seeing. It more of a presence of women in the cigar industry, whether they be, media influencers, people who are actually working in the industry. I actually just reached out to the people at Kojimar because I want to interview Rosie Perez, which honestly I really hope that I can do that, because one, she's a woman who owns her own cigar brand and company. That's wonderful. But it would be a full circle moment for me, because Kojimar was the very first brand I ever tried.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm real like, keep your fingers crossed for me, because I just reached out to the Kojimar Instagram, and I just sent them a message saying, hey, if possible, I would love to interview Rosie on my podcast. And please let her know that, if she's at all interested, please let her know that I would love to have her on. And they said, yeah, we'll talk to her about it. So I'm like, just waiting.
Yeah.
just waiting
It's
because you want one of the reasons why I reached out to you was one because you and I haven't talked in forever,
yeah.
and two, like I've had nothing but, with the exception of Crystal Shafia, because her and Justin were both on my podcast early on this season. And so I thought it was just going to be Justin, but he brought, Crystal on because obviously she's very much involved in Shafia Collection, and
Yeah.
they're doing great work fighting human trafficking with what they're, with their cigars. And so I had a great conversation with both of them, but I'm like, I've had nothing but dudes on the podcast. I need to get some of the ladies on here talking about what they're up to and all of that. So thank you for jumping on with me. And I'm very thankful that it's actually working, even despite some of the glitches we've been having during our talk. I'm just glad that it's fucking working.
Yeah, exactly. Oh
So
my
my gosh.
God. Technical difficulties. Good old
I have such a
technology.
phobia. I have such a phobia. I have such a phobia, Crystal, because it's just like I'm so scared because, like, again, I was on with Brandon and Kendrick, and because of what happened when I last had Brandon on, he's like, "We're actually recording, right? Like, there's nothing. Like, you're sure? You want to check? Double check. Make sure that you're actually recording because I don't want to deal with another situation like we had last time." And I was like, "You don't want to deal with it, dude. I was the one who went home excited to edit." And I didn't find out until like days later when I was trying to edit the footage, and I was literally slamming my fist down on the table. No, fucking no. I was just like, oh, it, it was a weird season. It was such a
Well,
weird season. I'm
I will
so
tell
glad that
you,
it's over.
I will tell you this, that the more that you don't live in a place of fear and you just come from a place of like knowing that things are going to work out, it always works out.
Yeah, I'm become more of a mindset of that for myself because it's just like, obviously the unknown is a bit scary. You don't know exactly how things are going to pan out, whether it's in, the short-sighted part of life or, when you're looking further ahead. And it's one of those things where, like, I don't know how this is all going to pan out. I really don't. But at the same time, I'm determined to make things happen. I'm determined to make something happen with this, with whatever my pursuits are. Because, like, even if, like, let's say I don't get another voice gig for a long time, you know, um, this is something that I can do. This is something that I can, put my mind to and actually work at and turn into something. Cause I mean, there's plenty of potential with just this.
Mm-hmm.
And, I try not to be scared or anxious about it. I try not to worry too much about, like, cause I mean, as I'm sure you've noticed, I didn't script shit out. I never script shit out when I'm about to
No.
talk with somebody. I get some of the more basic facts that, like, say if I don't know the person and I've never met them or talked with them prior to now, I get some of the basic facts and then jump off from there. But, it's funny when I was talking with Brandon and Kendrick, who I know, who I've met in person, I felt like I was struggling during the whole damn episode because I felt like we were running out of shit to talk about.
Oh, wow.
And I was just, well, because, like, again, like, I only talk with Brandon so much. Kendrick is somebody I really want to get to know better. I love that guy so much. He's actually really, really funny, which I'm sure you already know that. We had some really great moments on the episode. And after it being done and listening to it later, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is one of the funniest damn episodes that I've recorded. And it was so much fun. I'm thinking to myself, like, why were you so worried about it? Why were you so, like, struggling with yourself? And
Yeah.
because, it just, nerves get you. And felt like I was stumbling over my words. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know these
Right.
people.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It happens to me too. Like, it's the same thing. Like, it happens to me, like talking to certain retailers, all that kind of stuff. But then you just get over it, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And, like, it's one of those things where I just, like, try to be in the moment and be spontaneous, a little, and just enjoy the conversation and not worry so much about the end result. Just really enjoy it in the moment. And then I'm always satisfied afterwards. After I listen to it, I'm like, oh my God, that was so much fun.
Amazing.
And it's why I keep doing this. I mean, I've been having a blast talking to you about this, that, and everything. Like, listening to you talk about like what you've been up to is it's a blast for me, and I love hearing what's been going on with you, and it's been great to catch up with you.
Yes, it has.
Even with some of the weird shit that apparently
Right.
technology is supposed to be convenient, and it fucks with you so much of the time.
Mhm.
So I got kicked off with Brandon and Kendrick during part of the episode. And then same thing with Justin and Crystal Shaffiett. And then the hilarious part is it keeps getting recorded, their reaction, like, Kyle, are you there? And I'm like, yeah, that'll be fun for the listeners.
Yeah.
So, well, Crystal, it has been fantastic having you on the show and having everything go. I mean, pretty smooth, I think.
Yeah.
And getting to talk about what you're up to. I really, really hope that I am able to go to the DR in November and get to see you, get to see Brandon, get to see Kendrick, and whoever. I mean, we might see other familiar faces, because I know there are people who are, I don't know who all went last year to the first conference, but I mean, something tells me we're probably going to see other familiar faces at this year.
Yeah.
So it would be wonderful to actually see you there, to be there and actually go, because, my wife's planning on going to Paris next year. And so this is kind of my opportunity to go do something similar. So she's going with her
Nice.
best friend next year. So
That'll be great.
at least that's the plan. So and remember when she was planning it, she's asking me, she's like, so is there anywhere you want to go? It's like, well, funny you should mention that.
Yeah, right.
Yes, there is somewhere I would like to go.
Right. That's awesome.
So I'm due for an international trip, and a trip that involves cigars. So
Yeah.
I think it's time.
For sure.
So thank you so much, Crystal, for joining me. It's been a blast talking to you again. A blast catching up. I appreciate you so much. Now, I asked the same question of all of my guests at the end. I don't know if you remember me asking you this last time. The episode that got lost to time. But the answer to the question is in the name of the podcast. And so I asked this question: who rules at life?
Oh, the Revelers rule.
Exactly. Thank you so much again, Crystal. I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Please be sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications to be notified of every single episode, and we will see you guys next time.